Then when you get to countdown, it never gets to be routine. It never gets to be old hat. You can't help as a human being not to have that nagging feeling that, have you ever done enough? You know, have you ever really done enough?
At this point, forecasters are predicting only a 20% chance of violating our launch constraints at that particular time, and only a 20% chance of violating...
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Talon. Have a good day.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Okay.
At the time,
All right.
we expect to have some scattered clouds.
Everything else is on schedule. We'll launch at 8:07 hours. The window extends to 13:09. Let's hope it goes on time.
I showed you what it's... We've loaded the tank and we're replenishing it, keeping up with what we call the heat leak because it's not a perfect thermos bottle. So we have to keep adding a couple hundred gallons a minute of hydrogen and oxygen to the tank.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 3 hours and holding. Crew preparing to have the Mission Cape with the STS-59 mission emblem on it. This is Shuttle Launch Control. Approximately 1 hour and 11 minutes remaining in this built-in hole. The ice team is at the pad doing their inspections at this time and is reporting some limited ice found on the external tank. Commander C. Gutierrez, pilot Kevin Chilton, and there's our payload commander Linda Godwin.
It is a strange thing. You do all this sophisticated training, you have all these people who do all this high-tech preparation, but it really does come down to a few people who take you in a bus out to the launch pad. They do strap you into this vehicle. And then you know that anybody in their right mind gets way the hell back away from this thing, at least 3 miles, and leaves you alone out there with all of this high explosives and makes you think very hard about doing this job.
Now on the way to launch pad 39A in Custer Bay.
There's ceremony, and I think it's a ceremony that we need as human beings. We need ceremony, and I think in this case, these are emissaries that we're sending out into space.
Yeah, well, and the excitement in the bus kind of builds too as we're coming down. I can remember going out and people saying, okay, one more corner. Oh, you know, look at that. Isn't it marvelous? Normally you're used to arriving at the pad and finding all these workers, you know, scurrying all over the place, readying the vehicle for flight or readying the pad. Suddenly you get out there and there's just the 6 of you on the crew and the 6 members of the team that are going to help strap you in and do the final hatch closing. And that's it. Those are the only human beings out there in this big, beautiful rocket ship.
We're at the 195-foot level of the tower. Crew module's right here. The external tank is not more than 20 feet to this side, and there's a solid rocket booster that's loaded and ready to go that's right next to it. So we're right in the middle of it. All of that's full, and we've got about 1 million gallons of liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen right there ready to go. So you're one of a dozen people that you're out here, and everybody else is 4 miles away.
OTC Endeavor. Go ahead. Yeah, we'd like to confirm with Houston that RTLS is nominal aim point and runway 36.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 2 hours, 6 minutes. Mission Specialist Tom Jones is now being prepared for first boarding endeavor.
Just there you go. Okay, we got you now.
While you're waiting for a at this point, you're kind of numb to the whole thing, I think. You're just excited a bit and looking forward to getting in and strapped in and settled down. And it's a bit uncomfortable like this. Kind of laying on some valves in the back of the suit. But it's not too bad for the first hour and a half or two. You approach a little after that, you start getting a little uncomfortable with sometimes back pain. So the quickest way to get comfortable is to launch, you know. If you scrub, it takes them about 40 minutes to get back out here and open the hatch and take you back. But if you launch, it's only 8.5 minutes to 0 G, so that's the most comfortable end of the deal. Get into that where I'll put your boots up in.
OPC. Go ahead. Yeah, we'd like you to turn the portable O2 back on. Copy.
Good morning. How long have y'all been cooking this morning?
The beans have become such a trademark to what we do here. It's like fish and loaves. There couldn't have been enough to go around, and it grew and it grew. And now it's a tradition, and we feel like the beans are part of our luck, and the beans are also a part of the celebration.
Space Shuttle launch control, astronaut Luke Kidman on the shuttle training aircraft. He can evaluate the actual weather conditions around the runway, definitely waiting for his report before we commit to launch this morning.
I think that people become addicted. They go back time and again to watch them, you know. The people who live down there get up at all hours of the day or night when there's a bird about to go. You know, all the cars stop and watch it go.
The observance, it's almost like people going to watch the king bathe.
It is kind of a religion. I mean, it's like people are watching human beings leave the earth. And it's a process that they want to be a part of.
It's kind of like our Super Bowl day. And we're all hoping and praying and a little bit nervous. You have a little bit more butterflies. You're looking people in the eye that's worked with you. Everybody's scanning what they did over the last 90 days.
Launch Director Bob Seek has just had another conversation with the launch weather officer. There is still a possibility that we will have a launch today.
Not a 747 with wings out there tied to those rocket motors. And when everything's right, we'll launch.
It's disappointing when you don't get one off the ground. You really want to get one off the ground. And we're real happy when it's just the weather, because that's out of our control. We know we did our job right.
When you only have one shot for a landing, you want the best shot. And that's what's holding us up right now is a return to launch side abort landing.
Okay, let's go buy some ladders.
If in the first couple of minutes something goes wrong, where you can jettison the fuel tanks, jettison the solid rockets, and try to fly back for an emergency landing at the Cape. And you certainly don't want cloud cover over the landing strip under those conditions.
Our forecast is still no-go due to crosswinds. OBS have seen peaks up to 20 knots on the crosswind.
Bob, I support their decision, and we've exceeded the crew on back time by a few minutes already, and let's recycle for tomorrow.
And that's all happening at the LCC over here, the Launch Control Center.
Give you a go.
Nice try, everybody, and our recycle for tomorrow will be to hit a 7:05. Local time, beginning of the window, 11:05 GMT.
That's it, guys. That's the business. That's the business we're in.
When it scrubs,
Oh, my friend.
I know it sounds selfish, but there's a lot of work to do for a scrub turnaround for 24 hours.
What we'll do right now is we'll head back into the suit-up room, and we'll de-suit them, and then the work begins. We've got about 6 more hours of work, and then it's off to get some sleep and turn and burn for tomorrow morning.
See you next time.
We'll go tomorrow.
Copy.